All right, Carissa, you wanna
Yeah,
throw it over to you to be your.
so now we are full because we have a wonderful speaker today. Christine Daniels. She is an executive coach and leadership consultant focused in the areas of personal and professional development. As an executive director of the John Maxwell team, she has been trained by John Maxwell and mentors of his world-class facility and is equipped with the proven tools, resources, and experience to inspire and empower individuals and organizations and improve productivity, performance, engagement, and profitability. As a leadership coach, Christine brings a passion for unlocking individual and organizational potential that inspires transformation and produces measurable and sustainable results. As a certified speaker and trainer, Christine facilitates group workshops, corporate leadership development, and is an impactful speaker in these areas. With over 25 years of professional leadership experience and a lifelong advocate of personal growth, Christine is uniquely positioned to partner with individuals and organizations in developing customized solutions that close the gap from where they are today and where they want to be. Thank you so much for joining us. We're very looking forward to this.
I'm happy to be here. So when Nancy asked me, I was like, this is so great. I love talking about goals. It's something I do a lot with my coaching practice. And then as we're getting to the end of the year, just reflecting on our year. And I think a lot of us don't take a lot of time to do that. So kicking off, like, have we ever felt stuck? Like goals are just out of reach? I make hundreds of to-do lists. I check them off. A lot of things I do at the beginning of the year, I say I'm going to continue with, I don't continue with. And we all have these dreams and these desires, but turn them into reality can be really tough. So one of the things, SMART goals. Who here has heard of SMART goals? Yes. Who's been able to effectively use them? That's great, great. So I love SMART goals. It's really a roadmap to achieving our goals. The SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And really the elements, it's just a simple but powerful tool that really provides a clear and structured framework for, setting and getting effective goals. I kind of think of them as like a GPS. They're really aimed at creating a blueprint for success. I do so many quotes all the time. So Zig Ziglar says, a goal properly set is already halfway achieved. So we're already kind of like starting out successfully if we take the time to practice it. They are intentional and strategic. They define really what is to be achieved, how progress will be tracked, what's realistic, why it matters, and when it is to be achieved by. And one of the things I do with my coaching clients in the beginning, we do a lot of intake forms about visions and values. And that's really important, like what we see. So I've tried to incorporate, as I go through this presentation, what I do kind of like in the coaching sessions to kind of make them applicable for just thought-provoking things that you kind of think of along the way. So let's break this down. S stands for specific. Your goal should be direct, detailed, and meaningful. By outlining the details of the goal, you create a roadmap for success, making it easier to plan, track progress, and stay motivated. The goal really answers the 5 whys. The who, what, when, where, and why of your objective. So when you think about your goal, think about it as like a mission statement of like what you really want to accomplish. Some of the times, like with the larger goals and longer term goals, it can seem daunting and overwhelming. So you really kind of want to break those down and kind of unpack them into smaller goals. Has anyone read Atomic Habits by James Clear? Has anyone heard of it? Okay, he talks about the 1% rule, right? And it's like those small, if focusing on the small incremental improvements each day. These tiny changes may seem insignificant at first, but they do compound over time. If you've read the book, you'll notice he talks about the gym theory. So say someone wants to go to the gym. They want to lose 50 pounds. They've never been to a gym. They have never enrolled in a gym. Their small practice may even be just creating the 1% habit of putting his shoes by the bed in the morning to like get up and know like, okay, I'm going to step into these shoes. Or it may be for 2 weeks that they're going to sit there and just put on their gym clothes. Then the next step may be that they're actually going to drive to the gym. And then 2 weeks later, they're actually gonna start to get into the gym. So the idea is like, you have to kind of build the mindset around what you really want to accomplish. And I think these small incremental steps are really important. So an example of a non-specific goal, I want to get in shape. Specific goal, I will lose 10 pounds by working out for 30 minutes a day and following a balanced diet over the next 3 months. So you have to ask yourself, what do I really want to achieve in this? Do you have any questions so far? No? Okay. Measurable. So the M in SMART stands for measurable. You ensure that you can measure the success. Your goals should be quantifiable to track progress. Establishing the measurable criteria allows you to assess your advancement and make the necessary adjustments along the way. One of the things that comes up often is, how will I really measure my goals? If you think about performance goals, those are a little bit easier to measure, right? Because we have something end in mind. But what if you're looking to develop a soft skill or personal growth? Like, you want to be more curious, you want to be more empathetic, you want to be more patient. Some of the ways that you can, and these types of goals work in every situation. You can bring them personally, professionally, individually within an organization. So when you think about a personal goal or a growth goal, self-reflection, which we're going to get into with reflections, self-assessing, journaling is very important. You know, you can bring in someone as an accountability partner, or, you know, ask a trusted source, like, how am I doing on this? Scaling questions also work, like, how do I measure this? Yeah, scale of 0 to 10. In the workplace, you know, there's lots of different ways. You can do a 360 review. You can also ask for team feedback. Sharing goals sometimes with others is somewhat vulnerable and sometimes can feel difficult, but there's really power in that. It's another like little kick in the butt to kind of make you be accountable with it. An example of a non-measurable goal is, I want to improve my finances. Measurables, I will save $5,000 over the next 12 months by setting aside about $100 each week for my income. And again, you want to ask yourself, how will I measure my progress to know that I'm on the right track? A for achievable. Make sure you can reasonably accomplish your goal with a certain time frame. Your goal is realistic and you have the tools and resources to attain it. Setting realistic goals is crucial for maintaining motivation and avoiding disappointment. And this is an area I want to spend some time on, because if you really think about, can this goal really be achieved? Goals should stretch us beyond our comfort zone, but they still need to be achievable. Is the goal too lofty? Does it look good on paper, but seems nearly impossible to complete? Can be broken down into the smaller goals that build upon each other, like the gym story. And also, like, have I identified the resources and support that I need to accomplish this goal? What are the resources I need? Do I have the supports in place? What obstacles or challenges might get in the way? Really thinking through what it will take to get it done. You really want to set yourself up for success. Non-achievable goal. Let's see, let's just do some examples. I'm just trying to put it out there so you guys can kind of see how they work. I will become a millionaire within the next 3 months, starting with $1,000. That sounds great, but achievable. I will increase my savings by 10% each month for the next 5 years by consistently setting aside a portion of my income. So questions to ask yourself: is my goal broken down into smaller, doable steps? Have I identified the support and resources that I might need? And what challenges or obstacles may prevent me from accomplishing my goal? Relevant. So this is where, like, from a coaching perspective, you really want to bring the person back to their larger vision. You want to know what's really important to them. So I ask, thank you, bless you. Knowing what's important to you. You know, do we take the time to really think about our values and what's important, or why we're not able to achieve a goal? Maybe it's not tied to something that's really important to us because someone else wants us to do it, or it's not something that's really meaningful to us. And so really, when your goals are relevant, you're more likely to stay focused, committed, and invested in them. That commitment, there is a commitment with this. And some of the things that I bring up when I have my coaching clients, like, why is this goal important to you? What is important about this goal for you? What will be different that is especially meaningful for you when you achieve this goal? How does this goal relate to your most important values? Does your goal inspire you? Is this goal in line with your broader vision? I can't stress enough the importance of going through this process with the goal setting. I know it sounds like a lot of steps and everything's difficult until it becomes easy, but it's kind of getting into this process. So non-relevant goal. I will learn to play the piano to impress my friends, even though I have no interest in music. Relevant. I will dedicate 30 minutes each day to practice the piano because I have a genuine passion and want to improve. And again, just repeating some of the questions. Why is this important to me? Why am I setting this goal? What effect will achieving this goal have on my life or on others? Time bound. Having a start and an end date. Very simple. It provides the structure and helps prevent the procrastination, pushing you to take the consistent action. And having a date by which you want to reach your goal to stay focused, motivated, and accountable. And if you've mapped out the steps towards your goal, it should be really easy to determine. However, it should also challenge you. A goal is something to reach for, not something to drift towards. And that's where the time-bound piece really kind of comes in. I will write a book someday, something I've been saying for years, but I will complete the first draft of my book within the next 6 months by writing for 2 hours every day. So the simple question to ask yourself is, when will it start and end? It's a lot to take in at once, I know, because it's like, oh, we just write these lists and we just want to get it, but we kind of get to the point, like, why aren't we achieving these goals? It's important to really celebrate your wins, both big and small. So a lot of it is mindset, kind of visualizing that success that you've already achieved it before you actually set out to do it. If you fall short, be kind to yourself. I think we all have such a hard time doing that, being kind to ourselves. Accept it, reassess your goals, and try again. And while using this tool does take some time, but the value you get from the SMART goals outweighs the additional time spent on the goal setting process. Embrace this process. Focus on the process of learning and improvement rather than being fixated always on the end result. I love John Maxwell. I read all his books. So just to share some of his quotes: motivation gets you going, discipline keeps you growing. Small disciplines repeated every day lead to great achievements gained slowly over time. Have patience. All things are difficult before they become easy. And the secret of your success is determined by your daily agenda. Is there any questions on SMART goals? Or move on to reflections? So reflection, we hardly, especially during this time of year, anytime, we're always so busy just to stop and just think about what it is that is important, what just happened. I know we sometimes like don't stop to smell the roses when we succeed at something. This isn't necessarily tied to goal related. This is just us women. I do this with every one of my clients, and stop, pause, and take in that time, reflect what worked, what didn't, what did I enjoy about this process? You want to celebrate your accomplishments. You want to consider what you've learned. You want to figure out where you find joy, what you don't want in your life anymore, what you want more of. You want to design the next year, set those aligned goals. And what I did, just because I think this is like a very personal thing, I've created a PDF. I'll hand it out to everyone, and anyone who's online, I can email it. Just 2023 reflection questions, and it also helps you set the intention for who you want to be. It's not just goals. It's like, what makes me happy? How do I want to be in this world? Like, what's most important? So I put that out. And the other thing, so I didn't want to spend a lot of time on this because it's just personal. I just want to say that there's just so many benefits to doing it. We do so many other things that just aren't as meaningful in our life, and we think that they're so important, but this is really important. I can't stress it enough. It's something that I've incorporated for myself for the last like 4 or 5 years. It's changed drastically, but these questions that I'll share with you have just been a really good, it's just intentional, it's proactive, it's thinking about what makes me happy. So thank you. I know I kind of got this over quickly. I thought it was going to go a little bit longer, but for allowing me to serve you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so passionate about this stuff and personal growth and development, both on the professional level and the personal level. I'd like to offer to continue this journey with you guys. So I do what's called a mastermind. It's a small study group. I want to offer it complimentary to everyone here. It's like a 4-week. It's an hour long. It's based off of one of John's books, but it's all the principles, the personal development, the law of, the mirror, self-awareness, all these things. And we just kind of do it like in a group study. You can do it on Zoom. I figured we would start maybe the week of January 8th. It'd be exclusive to everyone in this group, and we can do it online. And I just would want to know who's interested and what times work, because I can kind of make it work.
Definitely.
Okay, perfect. And I think we'd have a lot of fun with it. And I just love to be a part of everyone's journey. So Thank you.
Will you send
Thank
us an
you.
email in regards?
Yes, yes. Actually, you know what I have? So I'm two things. So this is just a little bit, I didn't want to send this out beforehand. And then these are the reflection questions, and I do have them in PDF, so I can also, take it now, but also for the folks that are online. Thank you. So thank you. I love this stuff. If you have any questions or comments, let me know, and,
I will say that at my employer, we do use smart goals.
yeah,
And it has changed a lot of how I measure my own performance, because the goals are a little bit of a stretch, but they're attainable, and you need to do them quarterly. And it really helps you stay on track to meeting, like, I have an annual goal. I'm supposed to have X amount of dollars in business. And seeing how far behind you are, or how advanced you are of your goal already is also a big motivator to exceed your goal. For me personally, that's kind of what it's been the last year or two, like, all right, they want me to go here, I'm gonna go here. And it really has helped me stretch a little more and be focused more on those specific areas that are gonna help me grow. But now that we're talking about this and, the reflection piece, I'm like, I need to put this into my personal life. Because like, I know it sounds really bad, but I have 2 young kids, and you know what? They're not gonna be young forever, and we have a very busy life. So like, why can't I just say, as stupid and silly as it sounds, why can't I just say, you know what? I need to take 10 minutes, put my phone down, sit with my kids, have a one-on-one conversation without distraction. 10 minutes is not hard. But in the scheme of your day, you're like, oh my God, I just want to be alone. So I've been like, and that's really true. You're like, oh my God, my day was nuts. Please just don't talk to me. That's how I get sometimes. Not mother of the year. So I think it's those little things that like I can use to like stay focused. So I absolutely want to join that, because I have it in my personal life or my business life. I want to apply that to my personal life. As silly as that little thing sounds.
it's not silly. And in fact, I think it's just so easy for us in work mode to always think work, like I gotta get these things done. And it's important. And like, I think about, you work with teams, like, yeah, you can break them down and kind of help manage that whole process. And then you kind of do that reassess, that check in, and goals can be adjusted, but we don't take that time for us personally. We just don't. I mean, it's not just specific to women, it's men included. I mean, men reflecting, it's like, I started having my husband do this, and he's just like, this is amazing. It's like, yeah, I'm like, because, we're not trained to take that time for ourselves. So it's like, what we have to do, what we didn't get done, running from point A to point B, and we just don't stop to think about like, what's really important to us. And it is more achievable than we think, and it just has to be intentional. That's it. So
And
thank
it
you
is-
for sharing that.
It is hard to get a little started. You're like, oh God, how do I do this? But once you get into it and you do have it written out with a plan, it really is very beneficial. Yeah, it definitely has made a big impact on mine.
And that's some of the stuff we'll work on, like in the mastermind, just kind of help them create it, and just the things the questions to ask yourself. I mean, I'm happy to share this presentation, like if it's easier, because I know there's a lot more questions in there on just establishing them, but I find that it works, and it really just helps get people unstuck, and actually also just, you have that accountability, but you put a deadline in it, so there's that sense of urgency, and like, to be soft on yourself, like, okay, things come up, you can't have control over everything, but the things that you can have control over, you can kind of tweak and kind of work around, but you still know what you're going after and what the larger vision is for yourself, both personally and professionally.
I have a question.
Sure.
Do you help, through your, meetings with people, do you help people establish their goals? Like, I was very goal oriented through my 20s, like I wanted to pass my CPA exam, I wanted to do this, I wanted to get married, have a kid, and then I hit 30 and I was like, I accomplished all that. Then throughout my entire 30s, I was like coasting. And now I'm like in my 40s and I'm like, I have no specific goals for myself. It's like, I accomplished everything I want to accomplish. I got like my master, and now I kind of feel like I'm just trudging along, like with no goals. Like, I kind of just need to make it through the day is my goal. Do you help people with like?
A lot of people come to coaching just for that reason, right? Because it's your dedicated time. There's no kid, there's no husband, there's no boss coming at you saying you need this. And it's like, you want to have that space just to vent, to start to visualize what else you want in life. And then we kind of create a plan, and I hold you to that vision, but you're doing the work, right? It's like, these are the things that are important to you. And I'm just helping you kind of stay on that track, and what's important, we do the visioning, we do, values assessment. I look at behavioral assessment, just to even like, why do I do what I do? Like, you know, what's most important to me? Like and I like to look at coaching as like, that's your time. It's all about you hold the agenda, but I hold you to the vision, and make sure that the things that you come in with each week, are they still tying to the larger vision that you want? It's just kind of like that co-partner, that
Yeah.
cheerleader, be like, okay, this is all about Katie, whatever she wants, and this is the time we take to like kind of go through what's most important, where she is now and where she wants to go.
I have a question. As I'm noticing you, I've definitely heard of SMART goals before. As I'm listening to you describe each one, how often do you see that they are very, like interconnected, where if someone starts with a specific statement, but then they get to achievable, they're realizing now they have to change the specifics. They have to like kind of tweak all the components as you go along, because maybe things are starting to not jive or contradict each other.
It's a great question, and you probably experienced this too, as even in work. It's like, you may start out with something that you want to do, but as you kind of go through that process and you start asking those questions to yourself, well, I have to go back, maybe that specific goal needs to be broken down. Maybe there's things that I need to do first before I can actually get to that.
Right.
So kind of like, it's really like, I do love to say it's like a GPS, because you have to think about it. Cause like, if you start with something and you don't have the whole thing thoughtfully, you know, planned out, you may miss a step, and then there's frustration, disappointments, and it's like, "Ugh, I'm just not gonna do this. I'm not gonna take time with it." But if you really think about it, when you get to that achievable, is it achievable? Well, oh, it is, but I need to go back and do this step first. So that may be your first goal. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
I can get this, either maybe be the support or the resources I need to have in place, or maybe the buy-in from your boss, or the time element. And, but that's the process. So there is, in the beginning, there probably would be a lot more adjusting, but realize what's the bigger goal, right? And then you kind of break it down from there. Does that make sense?
Oh,
Did I
sure.
answer your question? Okay.
Sure.
I hate to keep like stepping up, but like, so like I always use, cause you were talking about reviews, you don't ask for reviews. So like part of my goal is like, okay, I wanna meet this figure, right? But how am I gonna do that? So I need to be sure that like how my work ethic is, what I do is portrayed. Part of my goal, as silly as it sounds, asking for Zillow reviews. The more Zillow reviews I have, the more it is shown to the outside world how I really help people and what I really do. So in turn, though, that little teeny goal of asking for reviews helps my career in the long run and helps me meet those goals.
Sure.
So it sounds silly because it's little, but like one thing affects the next.
Yeah.
Cause I was like, really? Like that's a part of my annual goal is reviews? Like that sounds silly. But now when you see it in work, you're like, oh, all right, I guess that works.
Well, the other thing, just to add on to that, that's like creating a new habit. Like, I'm getting in a habit of asking for reviews. And I think about what you said earlier. It's like, it's great that you haven't had to, but like, if it's something that you just start to just ask for and people knowingly want to do it, like think about how much more business you could possibly do. And you haven't had to do it, but it's something else, like when you're thinking about goals and stuff like that. And it's just those little habits, and like that's it, and that's like bring back in the James Clear, you know, the James Clear analysis, the 1%. It's like, what are the habits? Like, what are the things I'm doing? And so you did it, and she's such a good she's so good.
No, but it's true though, like, and because of course, who wants their employer to be like, we're rewriting our review process, and you're like, oh dear God. But after a few years, you actually see it go to work, and you're like, oh, all right, there's a reason why we're doing this, because it does work. And it does help you stay focused, but I mean, the biggest thing is you have to be able to hold yourself accountable. You can't just wait for your boss to yell at you at why you didn't meet your goal. So you know, you have to be sure to be paying attention to it and focus. And by following it, it has been very good for me the past 2 years. So it's those little things that you don't think about, but when you put it into place, it really does help.
How about just scheduling time to do it? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a big, I have all my lists, but
Oh,
sometimes it doesn't
absolutely.
just get onto your calendar. It kind of sits on that list.
If it's not
So-
there in
Ain't
my
that right?
calendar,
So, you know
it
what I mean?
doesn't
Put it on the
happen.
calendar on a regular basis, and then I'm like, okay, then it's gonna make sure that.
Both of
That's
us
the
like
work.
serving the wedding business, where I was talking about this last night in another wedding group, where it was like the workflow of knowing like, okay, here's my steps through every client. And then like the last one being, you've closed out that last contact with them and following that up with like, thank you note slash, and if
Yeah.
you enjoyed your experience with me, here's my Google link to please share your experience with others, so more great clients like you know, like
Yeah, that little
all the
checklist, you're
steps
good
that
to
it
go.
goes in.
It's super helpful. One other thing that you brought up, and you talk about accountability, so. Because I do this for a living, I have accountability partners, I have a coach, like, we were not meant to do this alone. And when you actually share your goals with other people, it's like, kind of have like a little, you know, you can talk through them, you can make the adjustments, you're checking in with them, and it's like, hey, how's that going? And, you know, it worked out, but I had to make some tweaks, it just, that accountability is everything. So, you know, don't be shy of it.
I have a girlfriend like that too, and I can hear her voice like in my head. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna talk to her this week. I'm like, well, I better get those things. Hear that little voice. So it does work.
Does anyone online have any